Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I'm going to be posting longer content on here and I think that will be better so I can wait out the 3-month warning that I've been given on TikTok, because I don't want to lose that page and I cannot be asked to make another page because for instance they look at whether you make another page anyway, so I'm not gonna bother, to be honest. So I'll be posting Reddits on there and another more advice videos or discussion videos that won't get taken down anyway. And it's just funny how we can't post screenshots of what men are actually saying about us. It's ridiculous. And like I said, I'm not doing this for the money anyway. It's just nice to have discussions with women who also want to talk about these things that men do to us. Anyway, so this is what we're going to be talking about today. Shame and Giggle podcast starring James and Fuhad. So I'll preface this, like most women who've covered this, I don't watch them and I haven't watched them. Like I've said before, I've only watched like one clip and I can't remember what one video from them, and I can't remember which video it was, but I know within 10 minutes I wasn't able to get through it. Like you can tell a lot, especially if you're a Black British woman, you can tell the kind of men that these guys are. So let's just discuss. These guys are 30, so we're not going to use the young excuse, because men are men and they become men at 21, like most women do as well. Like at 18 you are a man in this country, you are an adult, and you can be held accountable for the things you do and say and the things you perpetuate and enable. So I really don't like how people are like, oh, you should come for Andrew and not these two. We should come for all of them, and that's what we're going to be doing in this video. If you live in this country, you understand the kind of psyche that men have, especially Black men, if you're a Black woman. And these men, obviously, I don't care about the preference or dating. It's not about that. But it is a part of it, obviously, because some people will feel offended, because it's like Black women literally did nothing. They didn't ask to be involved in the conversation, yet we are involved. So this Ghostface Silla says, the S and gigs will be all right, but you're having a core female fan base is treacherous. Why do you expect to be mean to women and say bad things about women, and we're not allowed to say anything? We are literally your fan base. We literally uplift you. And then Black men, for instance, will turn around and say that we don't support them. You literally, for no reason, just say bad things about Black women. They're not based in reality, because you can and because you want to and you think it's funny. We're not going to laugh at things that aren't true. We're not going to laugh at things that denigrate us. It's not fair. And then Saturn says, all this suggests is that women are the only group of people who hold anyone accountable, because you're basically saying if they had a core male fan base, they would get away with it. Coons and neeks. And they know, because this is why rape culture exists, for instance, because men, men are more likely to support men who do bad things to women, simply because they need the insurance that they will be supported by those men when they choose to commit the same crimes. Or they support men because they are men. They support men because they see men as human beings who make quote-unquote mistakes. Men's mistakes span from forgetting to do your homework, to forgetting to turn in your paperwork at work, to raping women and molesting children. Like, a man's mistake can be absolutely anything. Men's mistakes can be them laughing at you getting assaulted, as well as doing the assaulting themselves. And that is what they bank on. That's what they want to do. And that's what they want us to be that is what they want us to be okay with. Honestly, I don't see the point in trying to tell people who you've made your target demographic. Like, you talk about women all the time, and yet women will be sitting here and listening to these men, because men know that the easiest way to get famous is to like have a female fan base. But the thing is, we have to learn over and over again that these men don't actually want us to be involved with them. They don't actually want us to be fans of them, because they want to be mean to us. They want to hurt us. They want to harm us. They want to objectify and sexualize and harass us. They don't want us supporting them and smiling in their faces. That's why they get upset when they find out women make up the majority of their fan base. But the thing is, men don't support men unless they're like outwardly like supporting the patriarchy, and they like it when they make fun of women and tell all these rape jokes and harassing jokes and cheating jokes and all of these things. If as long as they say it's a joke in their eyes. So women not wanting to follow men who say that they'll cheat on women is a problem, apparently. So F the mod said, and he's not wrong, Joe Budden and Joe Rogan still Joe Rogan? I think Joe Budden and Rogan still have platforms for that exact reason. And yeah, Saturn comes back and says, yeah, this is literally an example of what my tweet suggests. And then the other person says, I know, I'm agreeing with you. Okay, so it was a bit of miscommunication. Mars says, please don't generalize because most of us never even heard of them. Saturn said, yeah, I'm making a parallel to the original tweet. It's not meant to be anything more than that. This is the thing, men, it's always hit dogs hollering. They know exactly what we're talking about. It's like we have to keep singling out which man it is, which man it isn't. It's most of you, and none of you are actually pointing fingers at these men who say it's not all men or it's not me. They'll never actually talk about the problem at hand. They'll never condemn what the men we are talking about are doing, and you're just coming here to defend yourself. That is not what we're trying to do here. And then this other person above says, you're not holding anyone accountable, you're just piling on because you saw another girl on social media do it. When women speak up, when a woman speaks up, it encourages and empowers other women to speak up, and men really don't like that argument because they don't have any like backbone. They're very spineless, and they move as a hive mind, and then they project that onto us and say because one woman got raped, you think you got raped too. Most of us have been raped. Most of us have been assaulted. And so yes, when a woman has the power and she has the confidence to speak up, of course we're going to support her. And not only that, some of us might feel empowered to speak up about our abuses as well. And then Saturn says, can I ask what would quantify as dogpiling as opposed to accountability? If I go to my place of work and spread misogyny and racism, and as a result lose my job, how are my co-workers virtue signaling? And then Supercat says their place of work was a comedy podcast called Flagrant. It's specifically the type of comedy they've been doing for 10 years. You're late, a place to get away from the woke mob like you, and have fun saying things that can never be offensive in a joking manner. Respect the culture. Okay, the thing is, when things aren't said against you, or when things don't demoralize your image to the rest of the world, why would you ever be offended? That's what I want to ask people. Because the thing is, when we talk about things that are said to our people, other races and creeds and castes, and societies and communities, why are we always like, okay, that I'm this and I'm not offended? It's not said against you though. That's the thing. And this is how people will accept apologies on behalf of other communities they don't even belong to. It's just our lot as women that this is what we have to experience. Because men can literally be like, okay, I hate women, and women will listen and say, okay, they hate women. And he's, how dare you say we hate women? Why would you suggest something like that? You literally just said that you hate women, and then we're not supposed to believe you when you say that. And then men will be like, oh, women don't believe men. Women don't like when men express their feelings. Or we're just being honest and you're not giving me what I want. The thing is, when you're honest, right, we can see you. It doesn't mean you're going to get what you want. But a lot of men want to say bad things to women and about women and get what they want at the same time. It doesn't work like that. That's the thing. And these men, no one's going to counsel them. And I guarantee you there's going to be women supporting them. But the thing is, with me, and if you listen to my TikTok, obviously you know that I'm the kind of person who's like, okay, so what are we going to do next? If you as a black woman are seeing these people and then you got offended at what they said with that white guy, right? What are you going to do next? Like, what are we going to do now? Are we going to continue to support them? Because I think like with black women, because we get it from all communities on all corners of the internet, like every single racial group and sex group will like be against black women and say bad things about black women. So are we just trying to find our safe space? Because as a black woman, as a woman, but a black woman especially, we can't enjoy media the same way everyone else can. I know there are people who can listen to surface level media, and you can just be listening podcasts where they talk about animals and they're just making jokes about animals and things in different countries and different medias. But as black women, your question should always be, do they support black women? How do they feel about black women? Don't think you're crazy for thinking about how people might think about women in general. Because the thing is, it always comes out and then we always act as if we're supposed to be shocked at these things that are happening when these ideas were always inside of them. So Saturn comes back saying they're not comics or have a background in comedy. Exactly, it's not a joke. They're not comedians. That's not their job. They just make reactionary content to funny tweets, hence why they got on there and they couldn't dish it back, then cried and issued apologies. They should have stuck to what they knew. Sorry. And MJ say logical gender can't even connect the dotted lines. And that's true. And that's why they've gotten away with being called the logical gender, even though they're not logical in the slightest bit. Because the thing is, men will say all sorts of things about women and based on women's actual trauma that we've talked about, and then they'll say it's a joke. But then when women are like, okay, seeing as you don't want to support us in our journey for liberation, we're going to go this way, and you can stand over there and be making jokes about us, but we're going to remember that you did that. And then men will be like, oh, nobody cares about men's mental health, or you guys are so mean, you're not letting us have sex with you, even though we're making fun of you. This is the thing, women are human beings, we can see what's happening, and you as a woman, I need you to wake up, and I need you to pattern up. These men do not support you. These men are not creating safe spaces for you. You see men giggling about cheating, right? That's not for you to join in, because this is the same mindset when your boyfriend cheats on you. He'll be like, I listen to SN Gigs podcast and they cheat all the time and get away with it, so why can't I? That's exactly it, because men get their personality from the internet and they get it from other men. That's why they join things like Red Pill. That's why they follow all these Red Pill misogynistic men. That's why they do it, because they don't have personalities on their own. Somebody told them that they'll get everything they want by way of being a guy, and it didn't happen for them. So that's why they have to turn the anger on women and find men who hate women too. So somebody down here says George Carlin will always be one of the greatest to ever do. I think it's Carlin or Culling. He'd have a field day with these sorry excuses of men you call comedians. That's the thing, though. A lot of men believe that there weren't men like that back then. They were all the same. And then Pine, our prophet, says, just because black men have been B-worded by this podcast for 10 years doesn't make it magically acceptable. It makes you all B-words. And that's the thing. We should retire because obviously we know what the B-word means. And when we say you're a B-word, you're saying that they're like women. That's the thing. Like, why is a B word, that's a female dog? Like, why is that like an insult? Like, female dogs, what's wrong with female dogs? But that's another conversation for another day. But the sentiment still stands. Black men, they look for validation from other groups of people, because black women have suffered so much at their hands, right? That black women are like, you know what? Most of us are tired now. Like, if you're really not going to be doing anything, like, honestly, we're just going to find people who actually want to live with us side by side. We're going to go our own way. And black men are like, black women gave up on us. Why is there something to give up on? What were you doing that we needed to give up on? Like, why is it in every other community, right? There are problems. But then the women do not feel guilty for leaving behind their men. It's only black women that feel guilty for leaving behind the men in their community. It's very disgusting, because we get hatred from all corners. It feels like women are the only group of people who have to let things go when people don't want to let things go. We can let things like this go, but it's more than just what happened on that particular podcast. We can let things go. It's just that when women let things go, men are like, these stupid women. They let it go, and now we're going to do things that are even worse. Big P here says, one thing I've learned about women is on the internet and offline, they're two different species. That's why I don't even cuss out women online. Worst thing, I've never had a woman say these things online, talking points to my face. But because we won't interact with you in person, that's exactly why. You probably work with women who hate you. Like, women in real life, they do not say these things because they're dead. Princess Meghan of Nigeria says they should say it to your face and risk being assaulted. Yeah, right. Exactly. And that's the thing, because we are coming off the back of multiple stories back to back for the past few weeks of women being assaulted and killed, raped and murdered and assaulted and killed over their exes, over their boyfriends, their husbands. Giselle Pellico, is it not her husband of more than 30 years who was routinely drugging and abusing her and getting other men to do that, more than 100 men to do that for over 10 years? And you're telling us that we should trust these men? We should trust you. For what reason? Because this is where the mindsets come from. These podcasts give men a lot of balls. They give them more balls than they're supposed to have. It gives them a lot of ego and a lot of confidence that they should not have. Because overconfident men creates criminal men. Because if you look at these men who murder women, and you look at men who rape women, look at their social media and look at the people they follow, look at the media they consume, it's almost always the same culprits. And this is the thing, we as women, we shouldn't be giving light to these men, but we should be pointing them out so other women can have what to look out for. Because one thing men hate is women being free. One thing men hate is women talking. There's literally a film called Women Talking, and I watched that film. And in that film, a group of women in a Mennonite community were talking about how to escape these men who are not taking the rape of their daughters and themselves seriously. And at the end of the film, what did they do? They left. That is what happens when you leave a group of women to talk to each other. They'll find out that all of them have been assaulted at different points in their lives, and they'll get up and do something about it. That's why they want to keep us separate. That's why they separate us by sex and race. Why they say that men are better than women. So therefore women will feel inferior anyway, and they wouldn't want to talk to other inferior people because nothing's going to get done. And in this world, as a woman, you are going to see a lot of things said about you. You're going to hear a lot of things said about you. And men, who are the primary culprits of saying these things, are going to tell you to get over it because it doesn't mean anything. And then, like I said, if you look at the social media of these men who hate women, it's always the same things that they're saying. It's always the same talking points. Men will literally treat women badly. Women will respond to that treatment, and the men will be like, oh, these women, it's for nothing. They're just getting upset. They're just getting angry. Women, they just leave us behind and they hate us. They're kicking us out of the home. Or women are double standards. They're hypocrites and blah, blah, blah. Who in their right mind will be able to hear things like this said about them, that black women are aggressive and they abuse their boyfriends and husbands, and then you'll be able to function in a society with people who say those things about you? You have no proof that black women do that to the people that they like. And this is the thing, when black women get any shine, right, like with the black wife effect, right, everybody has to come and try and drag black women down. A black woman isn't the one who made the trend, and yet we are still being the ones who get the short end of the stick. So somebody said, because N-words are effing weak, man. Just effing dumb, a white man making fun of them right in their faces. Those men, they loved it. They laughed because they agreed. That is it. Black men don't care about racism from white men. That's why. Unless it's them, and they'll be like, where are the black women to stand up for us? You know, you don't know black men, blah, blah, blah. They'll say to white men, why are you judging us by the content of our character and our skin? You should judge us as human beings. You shouldn't judge us, blah, blah, blah. You're saying all of that, but you don't mind kikiing with them when it comes to black women, and it's fun. And you say black women don't have your back. No, we're done having your back. That's what's going on here. Somebody said, and yet they just laughed. They did nothing to stand up for themselves. They just laughed at their master's jokes. And then Shane down here says, Andrew also makes jokes about white people, women, Indians, Jews, along with pretty much every type of person, race, religion. Most people see it for what it is, comedy. If it's not people's taste, then don't watch it, but certainly don't cry about it. And that's how they police women's reactions. Because I don't care if other people don't care about their own oppression. I don't care if other people don't want to stick up for themselves. That's fine. But as for women, especially black women, you should be standing up for yourself. You should stop giving these people your coins and your views, because they make money off of it. It keeps them afloat. It keeps them in those expensive clothes they're wearing. Keeps them in that house that they live in. If you start rescinding your support, if you stop giving them your views, you will see them crash and burn. Because one thing that men like to do is they only like to support men when they are currently denigrating women. This support will dwindle and they'll find somebody else to latch onto. Once they suck you dry, the like, this is boring now. Let's go to the next man who's getting a lot of play now from women who are yelling at him, because they love it. They love attention from women, whether it's negative or positive. So somebody says the female consumer is a double-edged sword, lol. And then Thrive and Be Happy said, because we hold people accountable and don't want to be mad at a joke, we don't want to be a joke or disrespected. Because black men, they do this thing, right, where they don't like to be disrespected, but they don't mind black women being disrespected. Because when black women are being disrespected, they're either at the scene of the crime laughing, or they'll just be like, haha, we agree, right? But then when it's them, they'll be like, oh, this is why we need to stick together, you know, when they say it about us, they're saying it about you. Okay, that's all well and good. But when it comes to us, we're never defended by them. So you guys can continue to read these screenshots. But the thing is, right, I want to talk about the other videos and clips that have been going around. It's not even this one where they're laughing at black women. I already knew from their vibe, if you truly understand these men, I knew from their vibe that they are not supporters of black women. They don't care about black women. Let's just be real. Like, they have talked about cheating before and getting away with cheating. Now, there's this video that I saw a while ago talking about cheating, for instance. And I thought when I saw the clip that they were like trying to explain what the mindset of a man who's cheating is. But then I quickly from the comments realized that they were actually trying to defend cheating and them cheating. So the example that they used was drinks. So you, the girlfriend of the man, is water. And then they said, well, I drink water every day. Imagine I want a Coke or a Sprite, right? And that's the other woman that they're cheating with. And then once they taste that Sprite, once they taste that Coke, they'll be like, I will never want to touch Sprite or Coke again. I will always have water. I will always want to go back to water. Men are cowardly. That's what I want to tell you. They're cowardly. And the thing is, they love what they do to you. They love making you upset and angry and feel gaslit. They love giving you STDs. They love making you feel ill and feel worried and nervous and have anxiety. They love giving you so many mental disorders. And they'll laugh with other men over doing this. Oh, I gave her 10 STDs. Oh, I gave her 15. I gave her 25. That's what they do with each other. You want to know what they're talking about? That's what they're talking about, how to denigrate and diminish women. And that includes the women that they with and they lie to and say that they love them. That's the thing. Another clip that I saw and that people were talking about is where the black one was talking about how he grabbed a woman's ass in the club, like he sexually harassed her. That's sexual assault as well, actually. He sexually assaulted a woman in a club by grabbing her ass just because he thought that she was pretty. And yeah, he grabbed her ass, and then the boyfriend of the woman was like, what the hell are you doing? And then the black one ran away and got the white one and the other guys, their other friends, to come and beat up that guy, to come and jump him for trying to stand up for his girlfriend. Meanwhile, did they mention about what the woman, how she reacted to having her bum touched? Now, what a lot of men don't understand is there are women attached to those bums. There are women attached to those boobs. We're not just walking boobs and bums. We're not. And the thing is with men, this is what makes us feel very disgusted with you. This is what makes women really not like men, because you have a lot of like a very body horror idea about your own body as a woman. Like, we feel very disgusted and disgusting in our bodies every single day because of how men treat us, and they literally make it 10 times worse by harassing us and touching us in public. Because if a woman uppercuts you now, you'll be crying tears, you'll be crying blood, snot will be running down your face. If she uppercuts you, if she knees you in the groin right now, you'll be trying to call the police. Why are you touching people in public? And the way he explains that, yeah, I grabbed some bum, I grabbed a little bum. How about if somebody smacks you in the face? How about if I burn down your house and I snip off all your eyelashes? How about if I do that? I've seen quite a few clips with those two men, Fuhad and James, right? Fuhad and James talking about beating women up for cheating. Beating women black and blue for cheating, for not doing what they want. They'll talk about women's looks all the time. They'll be saying that, oh, as a white woman, why would you want to be a black woman? Black women don't get black men anyway. So if black men don't like black women, if white men don't like black women, if Asian men, South or East, don't like black women, if no race of men like black women, then why are you always talking about us? Why are we always in your mouths? If none of you feel attracted to black women, right, that's completely and utterly okay. The problem is you want to make that our problem. Black women are in happy relationships. You really don't like that, though, because it denigrates the idea that we're undesirable. And they love using that term, that black women are the most undesirable people on the planet. That's fine with us. That's okay. It really doesn't stop people from being with us, though, because everybody who's been mean to a black woman has a bad experience with a black woman because they were the bad experience. But when a black woman comes out and she's defending everybody else, all you can do is just shake your head, because nobody loves us as much as we can love ourselves. Nobody shows us as much love as we show ourselves. And that is the problem. Black women are very much alone. And most of us have actually accepted that. That's why I don't think that most black women are actually on the side of Fuhad and James. I do believe there are going to be black women still watching them. I do believe there are going to be women watching them. I believe they're going to get an uptick in male followers, but not that much. It really doesn't matter. But what I want people to know is there's only so much you can do and say before someone reaches their limit. Because if we start giving you the same energy back, you're going to start crying blood. You're going to start saying that we hate you, that we need to denigrate the community, and that we're cursing the community. For every single black community on the planet, the men always say the same thing, that black women destroyed the family, they destroyed the country, they destroyed society and the community without taking accountability for themselves. And then they say that black women don't take accountability. This person here is asking, what about Fuhad and James and their podcast gave Safe for Women? Because this is a good point. Because they never said that. But I feel like the reason why they had a large female fan base was that, because I think most people have only seen clips, not full episodes of their podcasts. And from these clips, you wouldn't gather that they are like misogynistic and they're actual abusers and they've done bad things to women. You would think they're just these two guys who are like have a bromance and they're funny and they laugh with each other. That's all they do. They just retweets and then denigrate women and be misogynistic and be rude to black women, and then they just giggle themselves into a stupor, and that's the end of the podcast. That's literally all it is. But yet I think the reason why women like them so much is that because they gave safe, simply because they were surface level. Because I think we as women, we're like, okay, he's not as bad as that guy, therefore he's good. That is a trauma response, because being raised by people who do not like you because you are their child, you are loved because of what you do for them. Like, for instance, with my own father, why? Because I have a sister and I have a brother. It was like, okay, people were making fun of my mum for not being able to give my dad a son. Can you hear that? Give my dad a son, as if they don't create the child together and it'll be both their children, like both their child. Is because, you guys, you hug me and you cook for me and blah, blah, blah. So everything that a son is not required to do. And that's where the mindsets come from. Double that by being black. Everybody is saying that you as a black woman, your service is not enough for us to give you humanity. But we can make fun of you from morning till night and then come back and say that you did something to deserve it. Let me ask you what your experiences with black women. What did they do to you? You won't have any, because you don't have any experiences with black women. And the people who have dated black women before, the men who have dated black women, they did something to her. And they will always say that she was aggressive. What person wants to be cheated on and mistreated and then they'll just be like, it's okay. And then Nyla says the right CapCut transitions, I feel. Not me using CapCut, not going to lie. Because that's true. Because a lot of people, like I said, have only seen clips of their shows. They've not seen the entire podcast. So because it only took me less than 10 minutes to see it when I watched an actual episode of what they were doing. And I was like, why are they laughing at this and saying that they would beat a woman up for cheating or something? Stop treating homoerotic, romantic guys like a safe space for women. You are a woman. You're not a man. You are not supposed to have a safe space with men. These men, they don't care about you. And then he was talking, the white one on the Shame and Giggle podcast was saying how there's no baddies in Atlanta. You're literally white. The white one he was talking about how there's no baddies in Atlanta. Look, I'm not going to say Atlanta is 100% black, but most people who live there are black. It's pretty much known as a black state in America. So I really don't understand why people are trying to pretend as if he's not talking about black women. It's because he wants white women, okay? Him and the other one, the black one, they want white women. That's it. That's fine. Or non-black women. Anybody but black women. That's completely fine. Those men look wet. They look tapped. They look ugly. Okay? Black women over in the UK aren't checking for those men anyway because of the way they speak, the way they are. They're over 30, balding, aging. That's all they are. Within the next 10 years, they'll be bald, ugly. That's it. If we want to go there, let's go there. We don't even have to talk about their looks. What's your business in Atlanta? You are from the UK. Why are you in Atlanta? Why are you traveling to different countries just to get, women to sleep with? Why are you trying to do that? You're talking about baddies. You're not talking about, there's somebody over there I want to marry. You're not talking about marriage. These are men are in their 30s. So you are doing the same thing in your 30s that you're doing in your 20s, which is going around sleeping with everybody. And these women, they always end up in happy marriages and relationships. These baddies, no matter whether they consider you a baddie or not, you're still a baddie. It does not matter. It doesn't matter what they say. This is where it starts, right? With men just being able to go all over the world, and then they link up with men from other races, right? From other countries with other accents and other languages. And they say the exact same thing. They may not all speak the same language, but they have the same idea. And all men, all races of men, all groups of men, there's always a subset of them. They always hate black women. And it's like, you are East Asian. Where have you seen a black woman? I want to know. They won't be able to ask you. They get their opinions from other men. They get their opinions from other men. It's not just black men. And I know the idea of why people are saying it is black men giving the ideas of black women to everybody. It starts with them, obviously. It also is with other races of men, because there are other races of men who have been with black women. And they always have something bad to say when the relationship goes sour because of something that they did. Because it's going back to the statistic of women file for how many percentage of divorces, 70, 80, doesn't matter. Men always lackluster. They're always like leaving everybody else to fix their relationship for them. And eventually the woman's going to get tired. It's the same exact mindset. If you keep denigrating women, and in this case, black women, we are eventually going to get tired. It might take us 100 tries, but you will get tired of men talking about you like this and talking about other women like this. If you are a woman who is a quote unquote preference of a man, right? Because I would never ever trust a man, right, who says he hates the women in his own community, because is what the hell did they do? Your wife, right? Your ex-wife was of that community, a likely story. Your mum is the same race as those women, a likely story, because you didn't like how your mum told you to clean your room when you grew up, and you think that's the reason why your dad left. It's the same exact thing, because these men are misogynists. They are, and we shouldn't want to be giving our coins and our views to misogynists, because my view here is that you are eventually going to have a limit. This may not be the limit, but they have said other things. I don't care about what they said with that white guy, with the alabaster guy. I don't care what they said with him. Like, no, because I've seen black guys laugh with white women and laugh with white men and other women and men of other races about how stupid and ugly and undesirable black women are. I've seen, I grew up that way in school. There was literally a conversation while we were in art class. This black guy in our class was talking to white women and then white girls, and the white girls were like, oh, who are the prettiest girls in the class? And then he was like, oh, the 3 black girls in the class are the ugliest ones. And then we were just sitting there, the black girls were just like, well, what did we do to deserve? We were even in that conversation? No, but they said it loud enough for us to hear, looking straight at us and then giggling away, because apparently black girls are ugly anyway. You grew up thinking that you're ugly, right? You're going to probably think that way for the rest of your life unless somebody gives you another idea. And this should be an idea we should partake in. So Valerie Complex says, I'm tired of black women being everybody's punching bag. And then M. Laurie Grimes, apologist, says, start punching back. There is a very simple fix, but majority of black women are too nice. And they'll come online and say that we're not. You have to start either giving the same energy back, get even, get revenge, or we are going to have to take our business somewhere else. You can do whatever you want as a black woman. You can do whatever you want as a woman. People don't get to come online and be saying things about the people that they're blaming for the falling birth rates. So they're blaming us for the falling birth rates, but then their solution is to be horrible to us. And then this is another person, Sneeko, right? There was, I think it was on a live or something, and a black girl was on there, and then she took herself off because he said, OMG, you're black. Apparently he used to date a black woman who's now with a billionaire or a millionaire, whatever. And then he's also half Haitian. And if you know what's going on with the Haitian people, and they're being like demonized over in America, even though it's baseless. I have no idea how it started. Probably need to do more research. But if you are like this guy, right, I hope you get like all the energy that's supposed to come to you from the universe. Because men they don't like it when their race, for instance, like black men, this is a biracial guy, they don't like it when their race is like denigrated by other races. But then they don't understand why black women are also offended by the misogyny that we get from black men in our own community, because this is where it starts. They are a failed group of men, and just like other men, they're failed, and just like other men, they rely on women to give themselves a sense of purpose. And then when they don't have a sense of purpose anymore, their prime objective is to ensure that you have so much fear, you're manipulated so much that you'll never leave them. Because how can you have an abusive relationship with the group of men who hate you the most but they're around you the most? That makes no sense, because it's not supposed to make sense. So what are we going to do now, especially as black women? When we listen to these podcasts, when you hear these things they're saying, they always downplay it, say it's a joke, that it's not that serious, it's not that deep. How many times do we have to go through this? R. Kelly literally raped and assaulted multiple black women and girls. You still support him. Bill Cosby literally raped and assaulted multiple black women and girls, and women and girls from other races, and you still support him. All sorts of black men in our communities, they're doing all sorts of things to us. They're raping us, assaulting us, molesting us, doing all sorts of things. And they're getting on podcasts and perpetuating ideas that women are devalued. So that makes it easier for other men in real life to go around murdering women and girls because their lives are devalued. Because if you ask a man, why did you rape this woman? Oh, because women are hoes, she's going to cheat, so I have to rape her, blah, blah, blah. It's the same exact thing. That's what they're perpetuating on their Shame and Giggle podcast. That they were saying they'll beat up a woman if she cheats on him. You will never get a woman. These men, the reason why they have body counts that exceed the time that it takes to get to the moon, right, is simply because they have no standards for themselves. These women find out that these men are ugly, that they can't have sex properly, they don't get orgasms from these guys. I'm not having sex with you again. That's why their body count is like 250, simply because they can't get women to be repeat customers of them. Have the audacity to say there's no baddies in Atlanta. I know you're specifically talking about black women, saying there's no baddies in Atlanta. You're saying that white women wouldn't want to be black women because you wouldn't get black men anyway. Who wants black men? Who wants you? Nobody wants you. That's the reason why you're online trying to pick fights with black women and trying to rewrite history and say black women started it. If you are a man and you lead by example, right, you should be leading people to a better place. But you don't. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. And you're calling it a gender war. It's not a gender war. It's the consequences of your own actions. And then let's talk about the Andrew, the Jewish guy, right? I don't give a fuck about his podcast. I don't give a fuck about whether you think he's funny or not. That's not even the problem here. The problem is a lot of people seem to have this idea that white men don't perpetuate anything against black women. That man's married to a white woman and I think they have kids or whatever. They're white. They're all white, right? So what's their business with us as black women? We have no idea. But the thing is, men like that, they surround themselves with POC. They surround themselves with like black people, especially black men, to try and make themselves look more palatable and better. That's the reason why, because they know black men are the weakest links in the community. White men wouldn't feel comfortable saying things about people they're afraid of. Like, they're not afraid of black women. Black men aren't afraid of black women. No one's afraid of us, right? That's why they expect us to save them, even though they turned everything to shit. They expect us to save everybody. But we are also the biggest punching bags. We are the most likely to be denigrated on social media. So knowing that, having all that information, why are we still giving views to people who think about us like that? We have been the easiest targets for too long. So I ask again, what are your next steps? Why are we accepting this behaviour as an innocent mistake? People are discussing whether Fuhad and James should get more of the blame as opposed to Andrew and whatnot. They all deserve the same amount of blame. It's men against women, and they made it that way, and they have no idea of why they think we as women wouldn't be okay with what they're doing. They love the idea of us shaking in our boots at the thought of them saying something. So now when women are giving backlash, they're trying to gaslight us and say it's not that deep. It is that deep if you feel so strongly that you need to say it constantly in hopes that women feel just as bad about themselves as you do about yourselves as men. Because men are a failed group. They're a failed experiments. They were the worst things that happened to the planet. And yet they're trying to make that our problem. And black women are just the easiest ones simply because we're the most versatile. And it's very upsetting that I'm seeing a lot of black women actually quite defend them and make excuses for them. I'm not talking about preferences. Like I said, most of us, I don't think we actually care about their preference. It's just so uncalled for because no black woman was there. So where did black women get up there? Why did they bring up the black wife effect? None of you have black wives. So I don't understand. Black men are the highest demographic of men who won't get married to women. So I have no idea why we're even in their mouths anyway. This is the kind of content your sons are listening to, your brothers, your fathers, your uncles, your husbands, your boyfriends. And this is how they shoot themselves in the foot. That's how they keep each other single, because they want to get most women for themselves. And it's not just that. Women are the easiest targets. We are the easiest targets to denigrate, especially black women. And men's entire existence is centered around women. And that's why they find it hard when they can't criticize women, let alone a group of women, for doing something they clearly and absolutely and irrefutably did not do. It's more confusing to men to treat women like human beings worthy of respect, because the idea of the patriarchy is to ensure that women are never given humanity. And that is it. White men, black men, Asian men, they're all the same. And they hate black women, and that is that. So if you want to give them your views, more power to you. But personally, I don't understand that kind of mindset. So if you like these videos, like and subscribe. I will try and make more videos like this. If this goes well anywhere, I will just try and market it as best as I can. So thank you guys.